So we're getting there. We just went through all the steps that you need in order to facilitate a test and administer a test. There's just a few more things that you want to make sure if you are the facilitator that you're aware of. It is your job to get the test subject talking and to keep them talking. So there is a little helpful sheet out here as well, things a therapist would say. So basically, if you go to see a therapist, you want to leave the room happier than when you entered it. And that's the same here. We don't want to frustrate the test subjects whatsoever. So these are just some things. If the situation happens, this is what you can say, and they're pretty straightforward. They're neutral. If you see that something surprised them, you can ask them, "Hey, what did you expect to happen when you clicked on that?" Um, if you're not sure what they're thinking, just keep asking them, "What are you thinking now? What are you looking at now?" And you will say that a lot because uh, even though you got them comfortable talking, they're probably not going to remember that they have to think out loud. So that's just something you're going to be saying over and over. Um, if they get frustrated, just reassure them everything's okay, you're doing great, that type of stuff. So I'll let you read through this. I'm not going to read every single one of them to you. Um, and it's great to just acknowledge because they're talking out loud and it may seem weird for a while if they're not really talking to anybody. So, yeah, I hear that, that type of thing. Okay, okay. Mm-hmm. So those types of things. With all that preparation you have to go through, things do tend to work, be smooth throughout this process. But every once in a while, it may not, and the test subject may not relax and may get a little bit frustrated. They absolutely can stop at any time. You have to let them go. Try not to use direct names. Try and keep this anonymous and assure them that you're not going to distribute the tapes. So you could end it early too if it's not really going the way you thought it was expected to go. So the test subject can, the facilitator can. So who should be observing? Pretty much anybody that you can get in there. The stakeholders, managers, developers, designers, editors, writers, executives. Seeing is believing. They may think it's perfect and they may not understand that there's an issue with a certain task unless they actually see what's happening. So definitely get a good group of these people in there. The sprint number you're on may tell you how many that you actually need in the room. So um, that's completely up to you and your company. Oops, sorry, just a moment. Just like our other checklists to get you started, there is a checklist for observing. Obviously, you need to take notes. Um, you need to have a briefing after that. You need to talk with everybody else that was in there and compare your notes. You don't want to distract anybody. Stay as long as you possibly can. It's an entire morning. I know it's hard to get people in for that entire morning, but yeah, I would think that they would understand this, but maybe the first time around you just need to go through this and explain it to them. We did state at the end before you release them that the facilitator wants to ask the observers if they had any questions. So you can put in a process that you can decide works for you. Maybe it's just a texting process and not having an additional person in there. Completely up to you, but you do need to ask that. So we definitely have the debriefing for two purposes. We want to list the most serious usability problems encountered. What did those three individuals run into? And we want to list the problems to fix before the next round of testing. So the serious usability problems are going to get put back into that development process and they're going to get fixed, and then maybe you test them again the next time. Maybe you think you fixed it and you don't have to test them and you have other things that you need to test, but you definitely need to get that going. So it needs to take place as soon as possible or you're going to forget. That's just the way it is. Take the worst first. Everybody has usability problems. Even the best sites out there have usability problems. This is one of those things that never goes away. It's one of those continuous processes. It's just how much time and money do you have to fix them? And you're not going to get every single one, but you definitely want to get the most important ones. Okay, so I'm just going to throw these up here. You don't always have to redesign. Sometimes just a quick tweak is going to fix it. Smallest, simplest change. Remember, this all involves money. How much do you have budgeted for this? You definitely don't want to exceed that, so you want to get the big problems out there first. Redesign. I have just gotten used to Blackboard's redesign, and it's been about 6 weeks since they did it, and I was frustrated the first couple weeks just because it was a look and feel that was different for a user, and it was our busiest time of year. So yeah, we've all been a frustrated user at some point. Okay, and this is a great book. It's on your suggested reading list. It basically summarizes. Steve Kruger is the one that has made these available, and that's off of that web link. So I'll make sure that that web link is out there. Again, I suggest you go through and you alter these. The first couple times, it is okay to read the scripts directly off of the list. Um, but then, like I said, you don't make sure you understand what's on there. I mean, you don't want to read them for the first time when you go into the room. So we have a great starting point, though, so that we can get started with some usability testing.